Watch out for shadow cats and hill tribes, because today we're heading up to the mountains of the Vale. Looking at the area's coastlines first, it includes a half-dozen inhabitable small rocky islands that dot along the coast, as well as several long peninsulas that jut out into the narrow sea called the Fingers. Inland, though, most of the area is comprised of tall mountains and steep hills with lakes and valleys within them. The best real-life comparison would probably be the Pyrenees Mountains on the border of France and Spain. Everything's fine and dandy for the Vale in the summer, but during the winter snows, the narrow mountain roads become impassable, leaving no one able to get in or out of the mountains. In the same way that the Starks are the purest current-day representations of the First Men, the citizens of the Vale are the purest representations of the Andals. The Andals first invaded Westeros through the Vale, landing on shore for the first time on the Fingers. Because of this, many of the descendants remained there. Those in the Vale are the most devout worshippers of the Seven, a single holy being with 7 different manifestations, which was brought over by the Andals and eventually spread across almost all of the south of Westeros. The Knights of the Vale are often praised as dependable and virtuous, but have a reputation for being stuck up and overzealous when it comes to their own sense of honor. Some of the higher-up nobles of the Vale tend to be quite elitist as well, looking down on lesser houses such as House Baelish and those that are not from the Vale themselves. One thing that all the houses of the Vale can agree on, big or small, is their dislike of the primitive hill tribes that peruse around the lands ready to kill and rob unsuspecting travelers. The eyrie that House Arryn rules from is actually a pretty small castle that sits at the very top of a tall, thin mountain called the Giant's Lance. No, not that Giant's Lance. Anyways, the Giant's Lance is only reachable by a small mule trail because it's so high up. Every bit of food or other commodities has to be brought up there by giant baskets on chains that are lowered down to bring them up. Their journey up to it on foot is an exhausting several-hour-long, 600-foot ordeal that involves climbing ladders, ropes, tunnels, and narrow cliff faces. So it's safe to say that this place maybe isn't all that wheelchair accessible. Sorry, Bran. The Erie's interior is covered in beautiful mosaics of blue and white, with decorative marble floors and comfortable chambers that have amazing views. The castle's most infamous features would be the Moongate and the Sky Cells. The Moongate is a giant circular trapdoor carved out of weirwood with nothing but open sky beneath it. Executions are carried out here, and the convicted criminals are in for a drop that's the length of 2 vertical football fields onto the rocks below. The Sky Cells are where prisoners are held as they await trial. They're small 5x5 foot rooms carved into the rock of the mountain, with sloped floors facing out into the open air. Most prisoners are driven mad by the cold winds and inability to really sleep safely without rolling out the open window that they commit suicide by jumping out into the increasingly more and more tempting blue sky. Speaking of which, I'm about to jump into spoilers that go all the way to the end of A Feast for Crows, so skip ahead to the next video because we're taking the leap in 3, 2, 1. After Littlefinger marries and kills Lysa Arryn, he takes control of the area as Lord Protector of the Vale until Robert Arryn comes of age. Several houses of the Vale that were loyal to Lysa and Jon Arryn get wise to him and decide that they need to remove him at all costs necessary and take Robert into their custody. Littlefinger wants Sansa under the guise of Elaine Stone to marry Harold Harding, the heir to the Vale should anything happen to Robert Arryn. He claims his end goal is to get Sansa back in the north in Winterfell, but who knows if that's really what he wants or if it's all just part of a bigger chess game he's playing. We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, and hey, if you happen to slip and fall out of the Moongate, see what you can do about landing on that subscribe button, alright? I'll see you next time when we talk about the Lords of the Vale and Wardens of the East, House Arryn.